a gray water tank. So I was just wondering if Brantford was going to be doing something similar.
Can you just confirm what it was? Did you say gray water?
Gray water. Yeah. Yeah. The city of Guelph does have an action plan in place for that. And with all of our water restrictions during the summer month and the growth of the city of Brantford itself with all the new residential and commercial units, I was wondering if there's any plan in place to help with that.
Yeah, I can take that question back and provide information.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments? Gregory? You just have to go off mute. Yeah.
Greg is fine. I imagine as we come closer to things like energy audits of the facilities, energy demand management programs, that we'll look to service providers for that at a future date. Have I got that right?
Sorry, through the chair, can you just repeat the question?
In Q4, we've identified things like environmental facilities, energy audits, and energy demand management programs in a plan. I assume that we're not in a position yet to have selected or sought out people to look at that work for us.
So for some items we have for our energy management, like one study is ongoing right now for the 3 arenas, Wayne Gretzky Sports Center, Civic Center, and Lions Park Arena. We're doing an energy study there to figure out how to get that facility to net zero, and it's in the study phase. But we're not at the point right now with any of our studies to actually make any of those improvements as of yet because we haven't received the audit information. But we are expecting to get it by Q4 for some of our facilities.
All right, then, and I'll ask staff this and tell me if the question is more appropriately placed later when we talk about the assessment tool that we've been using. But has the procurement, is there in place any policies around our procurement or selection of any kind of equipment that is purchased tied into these plans?
Through the chair, it really depends. For equipment for new buildings, for example, we did recently approve a net zero building standard. So
Right.
any equipment purchased for new builds will have to be green in nature. And we're currently working on a retrofit study that will involve any retrofits or improvements that we're making on facilities and equipment that we're purchasing in future for facilities that are already in operation. So it is within the plan, and the corporate climate action plan does speak to that. We just don't have an idea yet of the specific suppliers or what those specific items are right now, but it is a factor that goes into the decision.
Thank you.
I had a question as well. Regarding progress reports, is the plan to do like annual progress reports or yeah?
So you,
Sure.
if you will. Typically we do one report at the beginning of the year after our capital budget is approved, stating what our action plan is. And then in December, we'll do a wrap-up report that says this is what we took to council or to SPAC and council in March or April, where we outlined our action plan, and this is the progress that we've made. So we typically have 2 annual reports that we always take, and we will wrap it up in December and show what the progress was.
Great. Yeah, and just to that, it'd be great to see some of those, or you know, sort of an update how we did this year, right? That'd be great to see. Yeah. Anyone else have any questions? Oh, Linda.
Yeah, just one more question. Piggying back onto something that was mentioned earlier regarding the building plans, retrofit, etc. Are we doing anything for the new builds, being both commercial and residential in regarding more green options available?
Through the chair, right now our focus has been on corporate emissions. We just approved a community action plan, which focuses on actions that we can take on commercial residential properties. But we haven't gotten to the point as of yet on what types of equipment or improvements or whatever they can put into the builds themselves to get them to net zero from the start for new builds. We haven't reached that yet. However, we are doing our studies on the back end and talking with other municipalities and networks on how they can promote green building. So that's a conversation we're having actively with our planning department. We just don't have anything to report just yet.
Have nothing from the other communities then that stands out right now?
I'll let Rebecca field that, because I know you've been doing some studies on that.
So through the chair, right now, a lot of municipalities are looking at like home retrofit loan programs to then help residents get the stuff that they need to then implement those green or energy efficient technologies into their homes, update their installations to make it more airtight, or even purchase those renewable energy systems. So we're looking at doing something like that as well. We're just researching right now and talking with other municipalities to see how these are implemented, so then we can address the residential and commercial sectors.
What about the new builds? I mean, we all know it's easier to have it built in at the start than to add it later. Are we doing anything for the new builds, or any other municipalities doing anything for the new builds?
So Linda, I honestly haven't seen very many municipalities who have been promoting that outside of just saying we encourage it, because a lot of the new builds, it's very heavily dictated by the Planning Act, which my understanding is that there's nothing in there really that as it relates to or ties back into the green infrastructure. But other municipalities in parts of the world, I think it was Quebec, I was reading something that similar to community improvement plans they might have for downtown to promote development in the downtown. They have tax incentive programs for building things to be energy efficient. That's not something that's made its way here that I've seen yet, but we are keeping our eyes out.
Thank you.
We'll do a last go around and see if there's any other comments. Not seeing any. So I guess we can vote on that. Do I have to repeat it again, this statement, or can we just vote? Okay. So all those in favor? And seeing none opposed, the motion is carried. So we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the Climate Lens tool update. Rebecca as well.
So I'll provide another summary for that. So for the past year, Public Works and Community Housing has been using the Climate Lens tool to help quantify emissions of projects as a pilot project. And now after the 1-year pilot project, staff were directed to evaluate the tool and determine its effectiveness and if it should be expanded to other departments. The tool was found to be very successful, and Brantford is actually the only Ontario municipality that quantifies its carbon emissions and reports them to the public using the Climate Lens tool. And after receiving feedback and comments from both staff who have used the tool and councils, staff is directing to expand the tool to other departments and to begin quantifying climate and environmental implications. Additionally, staff is recommending that the climate and environmental implications impact section be permanent section in all staff reports, including advisory committee and task forces, and any reports going directly to council. Staff is also updating the tool to make it more user-friendly and to help staff input the necessary information to communicate climate and environmental impacts. And lastly, City Council is currently getting quarterly memos on the use of the Climate Lens tool, and we are going to be suggesting that SPAC be provided the memos in the same format as City Council going forward on a quarterly basis.
you very much. Are there any questions on that, that report? What's that? Oh, we need the mover and seconder. Yes. So can I get a mover and seconder for that item? Councillor Sullivan. Oh, and Linda. Linda. Thank you. So now we can go into the question. If there's any questions regarding the report. Don't see any questions there. I just wanted to say thank you for bringing that up. I know it came to SPAC previously, and I know SPAC in the past has been very supportive of the Climate Lens tool, and I'm glad to see it's been well received. So if there's no further comments, I think we can call a vote for that. Oh.
One quick question, does the lens measure scope 1 and scope 2 issues regarding carbon emissions?
Through the chair, yes. Yeah, the scope 1 and scope 2, we haven't exactly figured out scope 3 emissions yet, but it is something that we are looking into.
Scope 3 is going to be tough to wrestle with. So I appreciate that. But if we've got scope 1 and scope 2 covered, and that is being reported on a regular basis to staff and the community. Okay, thank you.
So we can do the, I think there's no other ones, no other comments. So we will do a vote on the motion. Are all in favor? And seeing none opposed, that's carried. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the SPAC updated mandate and environmental awards process.
So a summary for this report. So to better align with the committee's mandate with current staff direction from City Council, SPAC's mandate has been amended to focus on matters related specifically to the city's corporate and community climate change action plans, as well as the Green Awards program and the ability to promote and undertake this as well as part of the amendment. SPAC meetings are now going to be held every other month instead of every month or at the call of the chair. Also, the Environmental Recognition Award Subcommittee, the subcommittee that was created to review nomination forms and the evaluation criteria, which has now been completed, and the changes discussed during that meeting has been made. As well, the Green Awards winners are normally announced at City Council meeting around Earth Day. So the next step for that awards process is for SPAC to issue the call for submissions, which has now been complete, and then to come together to review the submissions as a committee.
Thank you. Any questions regarding the content of that report? Seeing none. So we need a mover and a seconder. Councillor? I can second that if.
Councillor Sullivan.
Councillor Sullivan.
Yeah.
So any discussion on this matter? So I guess from the perspective of the every other month, is that more related to past quorum issues and trying to make sure that we focus in on getting that quorum So I think it's inherent in all of us to try to get to the meetings or call into the meetings just so we can have lots to talk about. Like today, it's nice to see 4 items on the agenda. So just wanted to clarify. Yeah. Any other comments? I guess one thing that would be great is, I assume with the mandate updating that a new copy will be sent or available. Is that something that we could get sent around to everyone just so we're all clear on what we're trying to achieve in the meetings?
Yep, I can send that out right after our meeting.
That'd be great, yeah. And then I think it would be great at a future session to sort of look at the document a little bit closer and see areas where the committee can contribute to some of the issues that maybe haven't been started yet or that are planned, and just sort of have some discussion points to talk through some of those things and assist where we can. Great. Yeah. Let's see any other comments. We can call for the vote then on that. I don't for everyone else. So all those in favor of receiving this report? Seeing none opposed. And so that is carried as well. Thank you. And next up is the Atomic Spark video update.
So edits to those videos that were discussed during the July 28th, 2022 EPSPAC meeting have now been incorporated into the videos. So the videos are now considered complete. And the next step is to then determine the process for airing the videos to the public.
I'll just add to that for the new members. Back in 2021, it was decided that some of the budget that SPAC gets allocated would be used to create some professional videos about climate action, what it means, how you achieve net zero. So we were directed to take that on, and because of COVID, the pandemic, there were a lot of delays in getting the video created because of the lockdowns that were ongoing at the time. And since then, we did show a draft of the videos to SPAC. We received their feedback over the summer, and then we've since then gone back to Atomic Spark, who did the videos for us, and they've completed the project now, so they are ready to be posted.
Yeah. Oh, Councilor Sullivan?
Just to confirm, Gagan, we did roll over the funds that weren't used from 2021 for the program, correct?
Through the chair, I believe that it is not a rolling budget, so if it's not used in any given year, then it's gone. So we use the 2022 budget to pay the invoices.
Okay, I just thought I remembered something about 2021 being carried over if we hadn't used it just because of the pandemic. I just couldn't remember or not.
Oh, I can double check for you, Counselor. I wasn't on the committee back then, but we can certainly look through the minutes and find that and provide a response.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, and I guess we can move to a mover and a seconder on this item. And Taylor Edwards, second. Okay, any further discussion on these videos? Taylor?
I just have a quick question. Is there any place that the new members can view these videos before they go live? It looks like they were presented in July of 2022 to the, like previously, but I know some of us are new here. I'm just wondering if there's any way that we can review them.
Sure. So through the chair, we've been actually trying to find a way to upload these videos, but they're quite large documents and files. So We will work with the clerk to ensure that we can put them on a link somewhere, and we'll provide that to the committee members.
Thank you.
Maybe it would be helpful just to let the new members know sort of the themes, like generally the themes that were involved. I don't know if you have those available or, yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I can provide, I was in some of the videos. So
Yeah, and
I remember.
I can remember some of them as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so
if you had them available or a list of some of the themes, that would be good. Just to introduce us to the idea again.
Yeah. So just for the benefit of the new members, the videos focused around what is net zero, what is carbon neutral, and they were pretty quick, 1-minute clips each of just a very quick discussion of what is climate change. And then there was an individual member of SPAC or a member of staff or a previous house member who provided some information to whoever would be doing the videos. So we could focus on things like what is net zero, alternative transportation options that are more climate friendly, waste diversion, and it was just most of the big hitting GHG reduction pathways that the videos were all about. So it was really quick 1-minute snippet videos.
Anytime at a council meeting where we take a break, for whatever reason, we play those videos with a message saying council will be back in a few minutes. It's a way to get them out there.
That is a fantastic suggestion. I'll have to follow up with Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the suggestions as well was to create social media links that would, short messages that could link to a page on the City of Brantford website, in addition to the actual main document. But that way you could view them as you wanted to. And then that way you could share links rather than the large files, because obviously that would be challenging, right? So.
And just to add to that, if anybody else has suggestions, any member of the committee has suggestions for how to share them, we're open to those suggestions. And then we'll have to work with our internal communications to see how to get those out. But yeah, definitely open to suggestions.
Another suggestion would be, at the upcoming Brantford Bulldogs games, you could put them on in between commercial breaks, because they're pretty short. Sometimes they need filler, so that would be pretty good. But yeah, any events like that, like movie nights in the park, that could be something that you show beforehand. Some things like that, where people are already gathered. So I guess we're looking for essentially approval to release the videos. I know Taylor mentioned that she wanted to sort of see them first. Where that leaves us, I'm not sure.
So just caution,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's possible to make any further edits. to the
Yeah,
videos,
no, I don't think.
but we can provide a link to the members before they go out, so you have a chance to see them. I just don't know if we can re-enter into that contract with that.
Yeah, no, and recognizing that we've already, previous SPAC groups have had a chance to comment on them, and we did talk about them at length. I think that's understandable, but I think we just,
I think for me, it's not necessarily about edits. It's more just being aware of what's being put out there and was an SPAC project. And as an SPAC committee member, I just want to be aware of what is essentially being promoted. If anybody has any questions, I don't want to have to tuck my tail between my legs and not really know what to say. That's all.
I agree.
Yep, and we can absolutely send that out. But yeah, the report is just to be received because the video is now complete.
Right.
So it does have to go, my understanding is to approval still, and then once that's done, then we can start the process.
yeah. And for past members or for new members as well, at a previous meeting, we did go through them, watch every one of the videos all the way through. So I definitely hear the staff wary of reopening those videos again. So, but the messaging is really, short ideas that would be very much in keeping with the overall climate plan. So just letting everyone know that. I think, is there any other questions? If not, I think we can put a vote for that motion. So all those in favor of receiving the and all those opposed? I think that's carried. Okay, we're moving on to the next item on the agenda. That's the Greener Award nomination review. Greener, am I saying that right?
I think it's green ER.
Yeah.
Green ER, Greener, yeah, Green ER. Green ER, oh yeah, there you go. Green ER, forgive me there. Green ER Awards nomination review. Yeah, so we've received 2 nominations for the awards. They are both businesses, so we'll be asking staff to comment before we take the vote.
Yeah, so just for the benefit of the new members, typically SPAC is heavily involved and we administer the Green ER Awards, which are presented, as Rebecca said, at City Council. Every year around Earth Day. We haven't had the Green ER Awards since the pandemic, so this will be the first time, and there are several categories. We had a whole submission process, and we did receive 2 nominations. However, they were both within that same business category. So I believe now the next step, Emma, you can confirm, is just that we have to vote that who gets the award.
Yeah.
Number.
Yeah, so typically in the past, we've chosen 1 member from each category. I'll leave it up to the committee to decide if they'd like to appoint or to award both of the businesses, and then I'll also leave it up to the committee if you want to extend it. But keeping in mind that we do the awards in April at council. So, yeah. So we will have to get a motion on the floor to move. So the motion will be that blank be awarded the Green Business Award at the City of Brantford. So we can recommend one of them, or we can recommend both.
And typically there are 5 categories, right? So we usually give out 5 awards. Now we only have 2 in one category. So it would be okay to give out
Both of them.
Yeah.
And we did attach the applications to the agenda if you had a chance to review them. They met the qualifications of the awards. They were both nominated by a third party. So I will leave it in the committee's hands.
Mr. Chairman, I move to give the award to Mia Health Corporation. The other one, the application, very short, big answers. They deserve to receive an award.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
You mind repeating?
I'm moving that MEA Health Corporation received the Green ER Award. The other application was very vague and short answers. So I couldn't agree with giving out both, give both businesses the award. Seeking a seconder. Councilor Sullivan.
I couldn't agree more with my counselor colleague.
Taylor?
I do have a question. When SPAC assesses these applications, do we take into consideration the fact that it is a third party submitting these applications? So it could be a community member that maybe doesn't necessarily have the technology skills, or there could be a language barrier that would contribute to a not as impactful application.
thoughts on that? Or I think we're obtaining all of the applications and looking at them, together, like as a comparison rate basis. So I think, this is our first pass at the applications themselves. I don't think they've been screened at all. So we're getting what the individual decided to put forward.
And it's always based on just what's in the application, what the decisions are made based on.
I'm sorry, the audio on your guys' end is really, I can't hear you.
Okay, one moment. I'll try to switch our speaker to see if it helps.
Emma, I know in our last meeting, what Chris did was he just used the TV's volume.
Oh, okay. Can you hear us better now?
I can hear you quite well, yes.
Okay, let's try this one.
Sometimes it varies per person.
Can you hear me okay? That's the first time anybody told me they can't hear me. I have a very
Yeah, I
loud
can hear you now, yeah.
Better? Okay, that's good.
I was just saying, Taylor, that I think typically this, like, all of us are pretty much new to these Green ER awards because it was before the pandemic, but I think typically the case was that they would only review based on what was in the application itself. So those factors wouldn't have been taken into consideration.
Thank you.
Any other questions on those?
And just one question. Once somebody's been properly nominated, do you contact the business to see if they want to put in more input?
Through the chair, no, we don't. We've never done that in the past, no.
Just curious.
I can say that I had a similar feeling to you at reading the two applications. Certainly the level of detail wasn't the same. So I definitely, I would support the motion as well. In terms of the first item was didn't provide very much information about steps that they've been taking to make climate change actions over the past year. Any other comments? Not seeing any. So I think we can, so the motion, I'll just read the motion again once more. So that's,
So the motion will read that MEA Health be awarded the Green Business Award at the City of Brantford.
if we're happy with that, that motion, we'll call a vote. All those in favor of providing? And none opposed, so that is carried. Thanks, everyone. Now we're moving on to consent items, so that's the minutes. We have two minutes from past meetings, so that's the SPAC meeting on September 22nd, 2022, and February 23rd, 2023. Can I have a mover and seconder to adopt the minutes? Councillor Sullivan.
Chair cancer.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I just saw no one else with their hand up, so thank you very
I
much.
was on the committee, so I couldn't move them, but I can second them.
Sure, thank you. If there's any discussion on those. Wants a clarification. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so that's carried. And there are no resolutions on the agenda today, no notices of motion. And with that, the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.